for reflection, and certainly it's a time to continue working.
6 years after the decision to close Kelly, today is its last day as an Air Force base. Today, Kelly Air Force Base will become KellyUSA. Right now, you're taking a live look from the base in its last hour, where closing ceremonies for the Air Logistics Center are set to begin now in just a few minutes. Good afternoon, and welcome to this News 4 San Antonio special report, Remembering Kelly.
Today, officially, the Air Force will leave, and Kelly will become KellyUSA, a privatized research and business center.
News 4 San Antonio's Melanie O'Connor, live at Kelly Air Force Base right now, where those closing ceremonies, again, just minutes away. Melanie?
Randy, Tanji, as you know, there is no way to overstate the impact of this day emotionally, economically, on the entire city of San Antonio. Let's take a live look now from Sky News 4 of Kelly Air Force Base, 85 years old. This base opened in 1916. Kelly Field itself was completed the day before the U.S. entered World War I, and this base has participated in every military effort that this country has led ever since then. Kelly Field, in fact, America's oldest continuously active flying field. Here on the ground today, you can see the dignitaries arriving. Congressman Lamar Smith, Congressman Henry Bonilla, Congressman Ciro Rodriguez. A little bit later, Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison expected. This is going to be quite a ceremony with all the pomp and circumstance the military can muster. A military band has been playing all morning, and the mood here anticipatory, but also, of course, sentimental. Joining me now, a 51-year veteran of the efforts here at Kelly, Mr. Emilio Torres, who flew here and has worked here for over 5 decades. Mr. Torres, how do you put into words your feelings on this day?
Well, it's been a wonderful experience, and especially I would like to thank all the people that have been here, military and civilians. The civilians, they were family generations after generations, and they all made their living here, and they came up, and there was a lot that was that developed because of this generation series that we had.
And we've talked a lot about that, especially you and I did again before the interview. I've talked with people who worked here and before their jobs at Kelly were picking cotton in the migrant farm fields. What did Kelly do to lift an entire generation of San Antonians into the middle class?
Well, first of all, because this was a training base for pilots that came from all over the world, different countries, for World War I. Then when West Point of the Air opened at Randolph, then we went into a maintenance depot and a supply depot, which was still Army. And the people that worked here did work like all other bases did, but the people here loved their work, and they produced better, finer quality things of excellence. In fact, our logo here was, at that time, San Antonio Air Material Area, which was SAMA, mark of quality, and we carried that for years. But the people made it. They worked it, and they produced, and they were proud of it.
So if there's one thing that you want to leave people with at the end of this day to remember Kelly by, what would it be?
Well, there's just been a wonderful life. And Kelly Air Force Base will live on forever, just like the Alamo and the Spanish missions in San Antonio, because it is the heritage that will stay here. It will never change. This was the home of all the famous generals. You can name them.
Mr. Torres, thank you for spending some time with us today. Know that you'll enjoy the ceremony, and I'm sure you're going to shed a tear or two today. Thank you very much. Emilio Torres, a 51-year veteran of the efforts out here at Kelly. We've got quite a ceremony ahead for you, solemn and yet celebratory and optimistic about the future here at what will now become KellyUSA. Randy, Tanji.
All right, thanks, Melanie. Kelly, of course, one of the most influential employers in San Antonio history.
And you know, it may all be thanks to one man.
He was the first military pilot that we had in the military.
Meet Benjamin Falloy, the man who brought what would become the U.S. Air Force to San Antonio.
In 1910, the then Lieutenant Folloy began test flying the Army's first aircraft, a Wright brothers biplane at Fort Sam Houston. At that time, Fort Sam was the largest Army post in the country. But as the years of testing continued, the Army decided military aviation needed a home of its own. And in 1960, Folloy, the most experienced flyer in the Army, got to choose where that home would be.
He believed that San Antonio was an ideal place to site this new facility because the weather was perfect for flying virtually year-round.
That's right. Good weather is one reason San Antonio is home to the country's first Air Force base.
And the location he picked is today's Kelly Air Force Base. He figured the location was ideal. It was about 7 miles outside of the city, out in the middle of farmland. It was flat. It was close to a railroad yard and line, so it was good transportation to and from the city for supplies. It had wells into the aquifer for a steady water supply. And in his view, it was ideal.
In January of 1917, troops from Fort Sam began clearing the land, and 2 days later, War I.
In a month time, there were over 4,000 men camped on what had just been months ago a farmer's field. And
the 4 Air Force bases by 1942 all
well, we'll have Kelly number 1, which was the recruit depot, Kelly number 2, which became the number 5, and then very soon it became very confusing with all these Kellys. So then they decided, well, we'll go ahead and give each of these places their own name.
Over the years, millions of airmen have come through San Antonio, and billions of dollars have been pumped into the local economy. All because Benjamin Folloy liked our weather. If he didn't,
they might have been someplace else.
And we are going to take you back out live now to Kelly Air Force Base. They have started the ceremonies there a little earlier than we were told. The closing ceremonies, including the posting of the colors, going on right now. Ed Garza, the mayor, of course, dignitaries with the Air Force. Lots of people in town for this. She's going to be speaking tonight as well at the Convention Center. Some ceremonies that will cap this off. Kelly Air Force Base right now has about 4,500 people working at that KellyUSA in the private sector there. 7,000 people or so that are still in the military will also, as of today and Monday, still be working there in their military jobs, but on offices that will be leased back to the government. So there'll still be about 12,000 jobs in all there. Of course, their goal is to have some 21,000 people working at KellyUSA, I believe by 2006. Very ambitious.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chaplain Bill Grace will deliver the invocation. From October 1977 through September 2000, Chaplain Grace served at Kelly on special reserve orders as a chaplain in our industrial complex.
Let us pray that God will be with us on this landmark occasion. Lord, we give thanks for the safe and humane closing of Kelly Air Force Base. We praise you for those of vision, patriotism, and care who have been instruments of your will in its life. Bless all who are here and all who have worked to make this an outstanding event. Bless all who have labored before us and all who are here with us in spirit and all who wish us well. Celebrating a rich and almost century-long history of national contribution, and trusting that you are a God of transformation and love, as well as providence and plan, we greet a new future with faith and hope. And the people said together, Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Today we celebrate and honor the men and women of the San Antonio Air Logistics Center, both past and present, for 85 years of continual service to the United States of America. As we close the chapter of Kelly's history as a military installation, we transfer Kelly's long and proud heritage to the city of San Antonio. The transition from Kelly Air Force Base to KellyUSA began several years ago. And today, on the eve of Kelly's closure, we already see the bright future of KellyUSA as an industrial park, distribution hub, and business center. Before we proceed with today's program, I would like to welcome the numerous military commanders, civic leaders, and prominent private business executives who are able to join us on this historic occasion. We also extend a special warm welcome to those current and former Kelly Air Force Base employees who are able to join us in our audience today. In a few moments, ladies and gentlemen, I will direct your attention to the sky as a flight of 4 T-38 Talons from Randolph Air Force Base honor the men and women of Kelly.
As we mentioned, this ceremony started a little early. They may be waiting because they had to bus a number of a big part of the crowd from the ends of the base there.
Sun's so bright, it's hard for us to see.
I believe that was supposed to be the T-38s.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the 39th and current commander of the San Antonio Air Logistics Center, Brigadier General Robert M. Murdoch.
Thank you very much. Since this is my last opportunity to address the Kelly team, I'd be remiss if I did not recognize one last time all the members of Team Kelly for helping bring Kelly to a close with such style and class. By never giving up and continuing to produce a quality product during this very difficult time, we showed the world what dedication, effort, hard work, and most of all, Kelly pride is all about. Kelly pride is our distinction, the theme for all our people, and then one that will be preserved as a trait long after our closure. I have spent 31 years in our Air Force with many different organizations, working with many outstanding people. However, having the opportunity to be the last commander of the Air Logistics Center will be a memory that I will cherish the most. I have lived by the motto, take care of your family, take care of your people, take care of yourself, and the mission will be accomplished on target and on time. Kelly pride has taught me one last lesson. No mission or job is bigger than the people giving their all to complete it. For over 85 years, Kelly members, military, civilian, contractors, family and friends have done all they could to continue the tradition of support to our Air Force, our nation, and the city of San Antonio. Forced drawdowns and base closures seem hardly a basis for continuing traditions. So when asked, Why must Kelly close after all those productive years of continuous service? We must look at traditions and closures not as an attempt to hang on to the past, but as our repeated eagerness and willingness to face the future. If we as a team are to survive, we must learn to accept continuous change. For in the best of times and the worst of times, that's what life, teamwork, and traditions are all about. Change, not traditions, is the essence why Kelly will close and why we must now look forward to and be ready for the future. We can all take solace in the fact that Team Kelly may be gone, but none of you or your pride will ever be forgotten. For the past 3 years, Paul Bielowitz, Phil Steele, Tommy Jordan, and I have focused on taking care of our people. And as a result of their hard work and Kelly pride, we bring the flag down one last time with dignity, honor, and a touch of class. To the finest professionals I have ever known, I thank you and I salute you.
Brigadier General Murdoch would like to invite General Lyles, as commander of the Air Force Materiel Command, to accept a special presentation from the men and women of the San Antonio Air Logistics Center. Brigadier General Murdoch is presenting General Lyles with a historical marker which graphically depicts the significant missions for which the San Antonio Air Logistics Center has been responsible. The inscription reads, "Upon completion of 85 years of distinguished service to our nation, the men and women of Kelly Air Force Base, past and present, proudly pass the defense of our country's freedom to Headquarters, Air Force Materiel Command, for those who dedicated their hearts and lives to the service of their country. May we never forget." This historical marker will be displayed at Headquarters Air Force Materiel Command, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. A representation of the marker and its inscription is provided in your program. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I invite General Lyles to deliver his remarks.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And General Murdoch, thank you for that beautiful, beautiful plaque. It will have a cherished position at Headquarters Air Force Materiel Command at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Senator Hutchinson, Mayor Garza, thank you for your presence today, and distinguished guests all out in the audience here. This is obviously a very bittersweet moment. We all knew that this event was coming and this day was coming, but it's hard to reconcile and really understand and accept the total significance of it. I'm proud to be here at this historical moment, proud to participate in the ceremony, proud to have Kelly Air Force Base and the San Antonio Air Logistics Center as a pride part of Air Force Materiel Command. You know, it's impossible for me to look at this audience, to look out at this building in front of me without thinking of the significance and really being overwhelmed, to be honest with you. 85 years of service and dedication and sacrifice to our country. There were humble beginnings here at Kelly Field. If you think back upon it, in 1917, it began with literally 8 privates, 1 NCO, 1 cook, and eventually 4 Curtis Jenny aircraft that were delivered here. That grew over the years to this wonderful organization that we all know and love, to service many, many things that are dear to the United States Air Force and the Department of Defense, including the service of our largest strategic airlifter, the C-5, that if asked could actually carry almost 200 of those Curtis Jennies that were delivered here in 1917. But Kelly Air Force Base, and certainly the San Antonio Air Logistics Center, it's not about aircraft. It's not about C-5s or T-38s or engines or thousands of commodities that were maintained and supplied from here. It always has been about people, about all of you out there and all who came before you, and certainly even your families. Your service, your dedication, your sacrifices, and indeed your patriotism. Thousands and thousands of men and women who've given their lives to the success of this great organization. And I would be remiss if I didn't also recognize the loyal and indeed loving support of a caring city, San Antonio. All of you are heroes in my book. I think any way you describe it, there have been heroic efforts associated with this organization. You know, over the years, there have been thousands of awards and recognitions given to the men and women in units of Kelly Air Force Base. And I'm proud to say, even after BRAC closure in 1995, the people here and the units here have continued to excel. For the units here, there have been 17 Air Force, Department of Defense, and federal awards since the closure. And for the people, 85 such awards given to the men and women associated here. And I'm very proud to say, and very, very honored, that that tradition continues on. And I think it's very fitting that even in this last week of activity, we've had even more recognition. Most of you are aware of the 12 Outstanding Airmen Awards Force and the Air Force Association. With the 100 of units we have in the United States Air Force, a base, an organization can feel very proud if they have to just select Susan Robinson from Kelly Air Force Base. This year, we have 2. I just recognized and met last night when I arrived Master Sergeant David Dex Lejour, who's now assigned to Air Intelligence Agency, but he came from Air Force Materiel Command and a part of Kelly Air Force Base. He's one of our 12 outstanding airmen for the year 2001. And last night I had the honor of surprising the first Sergeant of the Year for the United States Air Force, Master Sergeant Kathy Johnson from Kelly Air Force Base. Now these are individuals, but to me they're representative of all the people associated with this outstanding organization. And still, you know, when I think about it, with all the kudos, the recognitions of the Outstanding Airman Awards, all the other recognitions that have been received over the years, words are really inadequate to describe and capture the significance of this base, the significance of its organizations, and to show appreciation for the things that people have done. I'm reminded of that song by Gloria Estefan a few years ago, that the words get in the way, and that's really the case. And in situations like that, I go back to what my mother used to teach me, and to revert back to some tried and true words, just 2 of them, and to say to the men and women of Kelly Air Force Base, both past and present, to their families, past and present, to the great city of San Antonio, which truly has earned and exemplifies the title, Military Town USA, those 2 words, thank you. Thank you from a grateful command. Thank you from a grateful Air Force. Thank you from a grateful nation. And God bless all of you. Thank you.
In the military, it is a long-revered custom to decorate individuals as they conclude dedicated service to the United States of America. Today, as we transition Kelly Air Force Base from a military facility to the Center for Global Business, it is only fitting that we bestow a similar honor and decorate the San Antonio Air Logistics Center. The Air Force Organizational Excellence Award is authorized by the Secretary of the Air Force to recognize units which have distinguished themselves by exceptionally meritorious service, which clearly sets the unit above and apart from similar units. Assisting with the presentation today is Chief Master Sergeant William Schuster, the Command Chief Master Sergeant for the San Antonio Air Logistics Center. Serving as honorary aide is Staff Sergeant Susan Robinson, a former Team Kelly member currently serving as one of the Air Force's 12 Outstanding Airmen of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as General Lyles decorates the San Antonio Air Logistics Center flag with the Air Force Organizational Excellence Award. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Air Force Organizational Excellence Award to the San Antonio Air Logistics Center. The San Antonio Air Logistics Center, Air Force Materiel Command, distinguished itself by exceptionally meritorious service from 1 January 1999 to 13 July 2001. During this period, the center completed a multitude of major workload transitions in support of the most complex base realignment and closure initiative in the history of the Department of Defense. The center performed the Herculean task of transferring workload, personnel, equipment, and materiel to other air logistics centers, while at the same time flawlessly transitioning tenants, people, equipment, and property to Lackland Air Force Base. The transition of the propulsion business area, the Aerospace Fuels Directorate, and the Aerospace Equipment Management Directorate workloads to their respective gaining centers was extraordinary. The center led the charge for the brilliant support of nearly half of the critical Air Force supply requirements for Operation Allied Force. The center received unprecedented recognition, receiving 54 Command, Air Force, or Department of Defense awards during this period. In addition, the center molded an exceptional environmental restoration program and cultivated strong partnerships with state and federal agencies and the surrounding local community in preparation for a seamless transfer to the city of San Antonio of the largest industrial complex in the southwestern United States. The distinctive accomplishments of the members of the San Antonio Air Logistics Center reflect great credit upon themselves and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Prior to transitioning Kelly